Dual Cultivation, WN, Chapter 42, Golden Carriage. When Su Yang turned around and walked, the bulky man exploded in anger, his eyes red. The bulky man was a cultivator at the third level of the profound spirit realm, and he has never been so deeply disrespected by anyone, let alone a disciple from the shameless Profound Blossom sect. You fucking brat, who do you think you are? The bulky man suddenly pounced at Su Yang from a distance like a tiger with his steel axe raised high into the air. The steel axe quickly dropped towards Su Yang's head. However, just inches before the axe could touch even a strand of hair on his head, Su Yang made a swift turn and unsheathed the sword by his side. A flicker of light flashed, followed by a tyrannical pressure that was filled with killing intent. Once the crowd behind the bulky man felt the killing intent, their legs stopped working and their bodies trembled as though it was freezing cold. Although the pressure only lasted for a brief second before it disappeared, it was enough to halt the movements of everybody there, even the horses pulling the carriages. Instantly after the killing intent passed, the bulky man's frozen body in the air began moving again. It began falling backward like a stone statue. The body fell slowly and felt like it took forever in the witness's eyes, but when it finally touched the ground, everybody there was shocked to find the head missing from the bulky man's body. A few people from the crowd suddenly looked up into the sky after they saw a shadow spinning in the air. When they noticed that it was actually the bulky man's head that was spinning in the air, they screamed in horror, not to mention the flying head still had the angry expression of the bulky man before his death. Su Yang retrieved his sword at the same moment the flying head touched the ground. He then looked at the bewildered crowd calmly with a bright smile and said, "Since we are all going to the same place with the same objective, why don't we stop this foolishness before I start littering this road with corpses? Though I wouldn't mind warming up before I start hunting at the Thunder Valley." The crowd slowly nodded to his suggestion while swallowing hard. They have never met someone as menacing as this young man from the Profound Blossom sect before. It felt to them as though they were standing in front of the devil himself. Good, Su Yang also nodded. Then let's make this journey worthwhile. He turned around and began walking again. Su Yang's figure quickly disappeared from the crowd's view. When they confirmed that Su Yang was truly gone, the group of people fell to their butts, their body covered in sweat. Who the hell was that? I have never heard of such a frightening existence belonging to the Profound Blossom sect. Who was it that said he was just an outer court disciple? He's clearly powerful enough to become an inner court disciple even in my sect. No, even becoming a core disciple is possible. The group soon continued their journey despite their leader's sudden death. It was not as though they can just go home after coming all the way out here, not to mention the wealth they could obtain from slaying lightning cats. This is a world where the strong eats the weak. It isn't uncommon for a powerful individual like the bulky man to die from defeat, as there would always be someone stronger. 4 days quickly passed. Su Yang has been walking for 4 days without rest, yet he seemed perfectly fine, almost as if he was full of energy. He suddenly noticed an expensive-looking carriage in the distance. It was surrounded by many armored men on horses. The carriage was entirely made out of gold and expensive jade, giving it an exquisite aura, as though it belonged to royalty. Above the carriage was an old man in a gray robe, who was sitting there cross-legged, seemingly in cultivation. Although Su Yang was unable to detect the old man's cultivation base, he was able to guess it just from his experience alone. Heavenly Spirit Realm. What could someone at his level be doing here, sitting on top of a carrier like some kind of guard? He wondered. What about the person sitting inside the carriage? Who could possibly have enough status to keep a Heavenly Spirit Realm expert as a guard in this mortal world when they are considered masters at the apex? Su Yang was intrigued by the golden carriage and its heavy guard, but he wasn't someone who'd stick his nose into places it doesn't belong, so he only ignored it and silently walked behind it. After some time, the guards finally noticed Su Yang following them. "Senior, should we do something about that kid? He's been following us for quite some time now," said one of the armored guards. The old man slowly opened his eyes, and he turned his gaze to look at Su Yang. However, when he tried to probe him, the old man was surprised to find out that he was unable to see his real cultivation, feeling like he was looking at a cloud of human-figured smoke. However, despite Su Yang's mysterious presence, the old man did not feel any threat or malicious feeling towards him. "Ignore him," he said a moment later. The guards nodded and no longer thought about approaching Su Yang. However, they were still paying attention to him just in case he starts acting suspiciously. What an interesting young man. The old man smiled to him.